Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. Bit of an all-round Manchester United chat today, covering the weekend's game and also Eric Ten Hag's crazy pundits comment. Get involved in today's chat, Reds, with your own opinions, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. First of all, what are the positives that you took away from the weekend's game? I've
got plenty of positives. I thought there was some really good improvement, especially from that midfield. You know, over the last 36, 40 hours since the game, you'd have think there'd have been a disaster going on here. And it's far from that. Yes, we know we're not blind, we're not daft. We know the last 20 minutes when the substitutes were made, it all went wrong. But it's not a disaster. Some people out there, social media, we're in 11th, it's all over. You've got to remember, we're only 6 points off City, and it is only 5 games in. Yes, we'd have liked to have been further up the table, but it's not a disaster. I seen a great improvement in that midfield and the link-up play, and then it went wrong. Palace got better in that second half, especially the last 20 minutes, and that was because of the tactical mistake of putting Rashford up there. We all know that, and a lot of people have just piled in on Bruno, and quite rightly so. Very poor game, but it wasn't a disaster.
Not a disaster, and I've looked back on the game, and Christian Eriksen, for me, I actually do think he was probably our man of the match, to be honest with you. And I've been quite surprised, but in a positive way, in the performances that he has give in the last 3 games as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised because they have been positive, and these are the things Eric Ten Hag should focus on, the positives, and there was plenty of positives. I thought he was excellent on Saturday. Eriksen, and I also thought the midfield, the link-up play, everything, and the back four was excellent. I mean, if you look at what happened in the game, the team played well. They created chance after chance after chance, and the only thing what was wrong, they never put it in. If you look there at De Ligt, you know, give him that chance again, he'll put it in. And then if you look at Xerxes with the header again, he'll look at that and say, I should have scored. And he should have scored. There was other chances, you know, Garnacho.
Bruno Fernandes as well in the second half.
Bruno Fernandes. But Bruno Fernandes, no matter what he did in that second half, it just went from bad to worse. But there was lots of positives. The opportunities were created because of the positive play by Man United. How many times have we criticised United starting a game, coming out in the second half, being slow and getting caught? They were positive from the off, and that was good to see. I actually thought the link-up play, the way the tactics were set up, I thought it was really good football. Yes, Crystal Palace had a couple of opportunities. You expect that, counter-attacking football, but they got stronger, and that's because United, the tactics went astray, because by making the substitutes, the way it did, it just didn't. It stopped working. What was working was really good on the eye.
Yeah, it was really good on the eye, and I did think to myself that he maybe did need to change things, though, Eric Ten Hag, in the game, because to me, even though we were getting the chances, I think we said it on the watch-along, we could play all night and we wouldn't score a goal. So I did think Eric Ten Hag was right in making the changes. And I think the players who did come on the pitch need to take more responsibility in actually making that impact, which they've never done as well.
No, you look...
Or was it more down to the choices in Eric Ten Hag picked to come on and the positions that he put him in?
I think it was the choice. Clearly, everybody out there, I've read loads of comments, I've looked at social media, I've looked around, and it is down to the choice of personnel, what he brought on, bringing Rashford on as a centre-forward, and he doesn't like playing centre-forward. Clearly that you wasn't going to get the link-up play, you wasn't going to get the work rate out of him, because you don't see it in Rashford. He likes the ball to come to him. You've seen what he's been doing, dropping back, looking for space, and then just try to find that killer pass. His confidence at taking players on, as far as I'm concerned, has gone. So that was clear to everyone. His performance, it was the wrong choice. And I actually believe he brought the substitutes on too early. I thought that team had a little bit more in him to take it to Crystal Palace for another 10 minutes. And then, really, for me, Højlund should have been on before Marcus Rashford.
So do you think Eric Ten Hag will come away from this game, look at it this week and think, The rotation, he will do that again and keep the likes of Garnacho on the left, Ahmad on the right to start games in the future. Do you think he'll be more than happy to do that?
I think he has to look at how players are performing. Ahmad and Garnacho, they're performing right up there. They're doing everything right. They're coming looking for the ball. They're taking people on. They're crossing the ball. Holding the ball up is excellent. So if you look at what Ten Hag is actually saying, if you're playing well, you deserve to be in the team. It's as simple as that. And them two, Ahmad and Garnacho, are linking up with Xerxes. We've seen that. And I thought another 10 minutes, we might have just cracked Crystal Palace. But it was difficult because we kept missing. And Bruno sort of faded out of the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Akash K, yeah, I agree. The subs didn't have the impact they should have done. If anything, we relinquished control of the game.
Yeah.
Limal says, hopefully Ruud will sort out the strikers. Need to be putting in those chances away at Crystal Palace that we had in the first half. Some man for one man says Bruno is allowed a bad game. He has given us 100% this season and season after season. And let's hope it is just one of them games for Bruno.
Yeah, players are allowed a bad game. And Bruno was half decent in that first half. He created chances. He gave an excellent through ball on the edge of the area to Garnacho. But his passing was off in that first half. And then it deteriorated in the second half. I think he was trying too much. I think he was just trying to do the killer passes when the simple ball should have been, would have been more effective. And then he sort of faded out the game by going wide. He had a really poor game. The stats tell you that. But it doesn't mean, there's a clamour to get Bruno out the team, like there is, because it's an unbelievable clamour from United fans, from the media and everything, to drop Bruno. And I think Eric Ten Hag kept him on there, hoping that Bruno would create that one opportunity, killer pass, killer cross, and break the deadlock. But it didn't happen.
I mean, in the end, if you're looking at it from a realistic point of view, we could have actually lost that game if it wasn't for Onana with that double save. And what a couple of saves that was. Yeah,
and also fantastic double save, absolutely fantastic. Did a great job, Onana, but they missed a clear-cut chance, just like we missed clear-cut chances. And that would have been like a proper steal. But they did get stronger. They sort of like attacked our midfield, and that's because the cohesion of the passing and the formation sort of broke down in the last 20 minutes from United. So Ten Hag's got a job to do, trying to work on that when he does make the changes, that we don't lose shape, and we lost shape. And you've got to give Crystal Palace some respect, because they came at it and they pinpointed what the change they had to do, and they got stuck in and they were more forceful, which you expect from any team at some point in the game. But United only had themselves to blame because of all the missed chances. And that's what it was. When it boils down to it, if some of them chances would have been took in the first half, that would have been Palace out of sight. We wouldn't have been talking about the substitutions and all that, because we would have been clearly in front. A lot of work to do, but it's not a disaster. Like I say, we're 11th. That looks bad on paper. I have to admit that. It really looks bad. But what I look at, it's only 5 games, and I've seen a change in tactics. I've seen a change in how players worked, how they work for each other. I've not seen that for a long time, especially from the midfield, who actually worked well with the forwards for 70 minutes. There was plenty to be positive about. And the negatives, you can sort of say, Ten Hag is trying to get this squad, these players, working together, and it will take time. And in the meantime, we are going to have unfortunate incidents like we did, missed opportunities, and there was plenty, and that has to change. But Ten Hag's going to work on it. And like I say, it's only 5 games.
You did mention change a few times in that, what you've just said. And it needs to change where we actually start putting a winning run of results together, because away from home, I don't think we've won back-to-back Premier League games since, I think it was February, where we won against Luton and Aston Villa. So there's something that needs to change.
I think it's the inconsistency, what's annoying to a lot of players, a lot of fans. We need to see one win, then another, then another. But it's hard when you're introducing so many new players. You've got young players. He's trying to gel this team together. And I've seen aspects of that against Crystal Palace. So I'm bright for the future. That you've got to remember what's been said over the last month, 2 months. These players are hungry. They're willing to work for each other, and you've seen that. And getting the right 11 on the pitch is down to the coaches and Eric Ten Hag. And there is players still to come back. You've got to remember.
I've got to look at it, though, as well. You know, with the inconsistencies that we have had this season, especially on the back of last season, I'm not too sure then whether rotating your team this early on in the season to try and find some consistency is the best thing to do. Surely you get on that winning run of winning 3-4 games back-to-back, and then you look at maybe some rotation so it doesn't lose that impetus of winning games and getting on that roll.
Rotation. The word came from Ten Hag over the comments about pundits and all that about Marcus Rashford. He wasn't going to have a go at Marcus Rashford straight after the game. He wasn't going to have a go at players after the game. He doesn't do that. Rotation, Marcus Rashford was dropped. Let's get it right here. He was dropped. And Ten Hag is being the manager, saying we need rotation. 5 games have just gone. That's all. No one needs rotating, okay, when they've not even played loads of games recently. And he hasn't played loads of games. He's the last player what should be rotated. So Ten Hag, for me, was just using that as a word. He dropped Marcus Rashford. How I look at it, when he came out on his pre-match conference, he was talking about Rashford, and he didn't need to talk about Marcus Rashford. He was going on about his off-field antics.
Before the game. In interviews about being professional on and off the pitch.
And this is the thing. He did not need to sort of explain everything about Marcus Rashford because the focus was on it. I think he already knew he was dropping Marcus Rashford. Garnacho, and I've said it, lots of people out there have said it, does not deserve to be dropped from the left wing. And I always expected Rashford, the way Ten Hag has done, to pick him, but he's dropped him because Garnacho doesn't deserve to be dropped. And if he does start, he doesn't deserve to be starting on the right because of Ahmad. They bring more to the game. And I think that's how Ten Hag looks at it. They bring more to the game than Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, and after Marcus Rashford then scored him 3 goals in the previous 2 games against Barnsley and Southampton, maybe putting him on the bench then to basically say, like, look, them previous 2 games, that's what I need from you. And maybe expected more of an impact from him than maybe coming off the bench. Maybe looking at it from a positive view like that.
I think...
You know, instead of just saying, like, look, I'm dropping Marcus Rashford.
No, look, it's rotation. He said the word, okay? And then what you expect is when Marcus Rashford to come on, you expect a reaction. And we clearly did not get that. And Eric Ten Hag could see that. He's not going to go out calling him straight after the game. Things will be said today, tomorrow about Marcus Rashford. Will he start on Wednesday? But no, Marcus Rashford clearly did not respond to the pre-match talk what Eric Ten Hag gave about him, and also to being dropped. He was dropped.
Now, me personally, I don't agree with him being dropped in how you're describing it. I do genuinely think it was down to rotation. Do I think the rotation was right? No, we actually don't, because like I said earlier on, it's about consistency and getting consistency with the results, and that's what we need at this point in the season. And I do think he's looked at it maybe with the next 4 games that we've got. Europa League, we need to start off and get the 3 points there. Then we've got Tottenham, then we've got Porto, then Aston Villa. So you would expect him to start his strongest team in them 4 games that we've got coming up. I just don't think the rotation actually worked as the way he wanted it to against Crystal Palace, because the players didn't end up putting the ball in the back of the net and coming away with the 3 points.
I understand your argument about Rashford, about the rotation, everything else like that. But when you talk about the best team, so the best people in Marcus Rashford's position are better than Marcus Rashford. Clearly see that. Garnacho has done nothing wrong, had a poor game against Liverpool, so did most people, okay? But Garnacho is better than Rashford. So that's where he should play. So that's how I look at it. And a lot of people out there will look at it, okay? Why bring Ahmad off just to accommodate Marcus Rashford when they actually play better? If your players are playing better, which in my eyes, Garnacho and Ahmad are way above Marcus Rashford in performance over 90 minutes. That's how I look at it. Ten Hag might look at it differently. We'll see what happens over the next few weeks.
Yeah, look, looking at the Crystal Palace game, I don't think it was the fact that Marcus Rashford come on the pitch that we lost the impetus. It was the fact that Joshua Zirkzee come off the pitch. And that's why I think we lost that edge in the second half, and especially in the last 20 minutes, that sort of like, him knitting up the midfield with the forwards and, the wide players playing off him and the patterns of play. But I just feel as though, with the last couple of games, with Rashford, he's clearly got that confidence, but we've not seen in a long time with him, back-to-back games where he scored goals. And I just think it was the wrong time to actually drop him, considering there was moments definitely last season where you thought to yourself, why is he picking him in this game? He's clearly not got the confidence there. He's not been doing it in the previous games. But, at this point, he's decided to drop him after, 2 games where he's got on the score sheet.
I can hear people out there screaming, okay? Just like I was the other day about Marcus Rashford. He had the opportunity to come on, right, and let everybody know it was rotation and I'm on form. And he came on that pitch and he had few touches. And his body language running around the pitch, I wouldn't even describe it running around the pitch. He let himself down and he let Eric Ten Hag down. He had 20 minutes to turn it round and show everybody that he's back, that the 2 games he did play at Southampton and against Barnsley were confidence boosters. I did not see, and nor did anyone else see, a confident Marcus Rashford who wanted to work for his team and dig in, because them last 20 minutes you had to dig in and get a result. I didn't see it.
Yeah, Marcus Stevenson says maybe Ten Hag wanted to see how Rashford would react.
Yeah.
And obviously see by his performance coming onto the pitch. So do you expect then into the next game in the Europa League him to start his strongest starting 11?
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking.
Do you bring Agati into midfield and drop either Kobbie Mainoo or Eriksen?
I think what it is, he's trying to find the right blend, and it's difficult at the moment with players coming in. Yes, Ugarte has to start at some point. Is it the right thing? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the background. None of us do. But he has to start bringing these players. He's got players coming back from injury and that. Yeah. What does he do with Højlund? That's the question. We've seen how Zirkzee plays. How's he going to get him in front of Zirkzee? Are they going to work together? Is it going to change shape? There's a long way to go here. Like I say, it's only 5 games, and he's still trying to get the right 11 on the pitch, which will take time. And I think by the time Christmas comes, we should see the right 11 on the pitch playing consistently. Players don't need to be rotated if they're playing well every game, because all their players want to do, ask Bruno. Bruno wants to play every game. Every game. So what's wrong with every other player wanting to play every game if they're playing well? And if you're not playing well, then you need to be taken out the firing line. And that's probably what Bruno needs to be done for his own good, because he has played too many games, just like Mainoo has played too many games, and he was taken out and then brought back.
No, good point that with Bruno. When you're talking about rotation with Eric Ten Hag's comments, maybe you might be able to look at that. But like I say, you're going into 4 fixtures now, where for me, you need to win every single one of those. So will he drop Bruno from that starting 11? I mean, that would be a surprise for me. It'd be more of a surprise him dropping Rashford on the weekend.
No, I don't think
it'd be more of a surprise dropping Bruno than it would have been with Rashford on the weekend.
I don't think it would be a surprise dropping Bruno. Bruno clearly needs a rest. He's not firing. He's not doing what we know he's capable of, and we've not seen it this year. I pointed out the last couple of games that Bruno's not firing. He's not shooting straight. He's not hitting the target. We're not getting the goals. We're not getting the shots on target, what we're used to with Bruno. So there clearly is something wrong there. Fatigue, I think, has caught up with him, and he just needs taking out the firing line. Eric Ten Hag kept him on the other day. I understand why he kept him on. He's just hoping that that one pass could open up Crystal Palace and lead to a goal, and it didn't happen. So Bruno, for me, it's not a shock if he gets rotated and dropped. He clearly needs it. Clearly needs it.
Going on to his press conference after the game, he responded to the crazy pundits in looking at Marcus Rashford and as to why he was on the bench against Crystal Palace. What did you make of his whole press conference and his demeanour.
I thought he could have pushed the positives a lot more, to be honest with you. And I think that's what he has to concentrate on. Because responding to these pundit questions from the press has to stop. The press are laughing at him. They've got the hook out, they've got the fishing line, and he keeps biting. Now, when he responded to Alan Shearer, that was personal because of the disrespect what Shearer and Lineker gave him after the cup final. They were sneering at him. They were laughing at him, saying, "We won't see you again." That was basically what it was. So I do understand him coming back at Shearer. Quite rightly, he's entitled to have a go to something what's personal and disrespectful like that. But now the press, I did say it, that once he come back to that, you expect more from the media. They see something where they can jump on and criticise Eric Ten Hag and United and keep going at it. Yeah. So he needs to stop, because he's the Manchester United manager. He doesn't need to play their silly games. They're looking for their headline again, and they're getting it and they're using it against him. So he has to learn here.
Yeah, I think Ten Hag, really, he needs to choose and pick his battles wisely. I think the most important thing for him right now is to get Manchester United winning games of football. And, you know, you're looking at Jamie Redknapp. I've never heard a Manchester United fan I've ever spoke to take any of his comments on Man United seriously. So it was a bit of a strange one why he'd come out with that. You'd have expected, like, the press officer for Man United to have obviously clued him up before he went into that press conference as to say, this is what's been said in the Sky Sports studio. And we was doing the watch-along for it, and we mentioned it, that Sky at one point, they kept on pinning the camera to Marcus Rashford, sat on the bench, and we both said it, didn't they? Look, the agenda's set here. You can see the comments they're going to come. And for me, I just think Eric Ten Hag maybe should have just gone over it, you know, because again, it's Jamie Redknapp.
No one's interested.
No one's interested. And like I say, to me, sometimes I just feel after the match, he can sometimes get a little bit triggered, Eric Ten Hag. And I think the press are starting to smell a little bit of blood, especially in the last few weeks. And you look at the game after, I think it was Liverpool, you had the Daily Mail reporter, was it Ian Ladyman? He went straight at Ten Hag about his tactics, etc., proper putting him down, as to say, like, they're basically not working. And you'd have never have seen that in years gone by from a reporter inside Manchester United firing at a manager like that. And I just think, like, some of the people in the media, they're starting to see a bit of weakness there, and they're coming out with all sorts just to try and trigger him and get them headlines, get them clicks.
No, they're trying to create weakness, and Ten Hag has fallen into the trap responding to it. But I did say, even before the season started, and a lot of yous have commented out there about it, they were coming for Eric Ten Hag regardless of what result it was. And like Kieron said there, the TV was always going on Marcus Rashford. I've never seen that before while the game was on. But then it stopped because United was playing well. They took over the game. They were creating chances after chances. But 3 or 4 times the camera went on where the players were sat, and it was focused on Marcus Rashford. So Kieron is correct. That was always going to be the agenda. But what I don't understand is, why isn't someone having a word in Eric Ten Hag's ear, sort of like cluing him up and having a chat, the PR team and all that, and sort of saying, well, look, you know what's coming, but we've known what's coming. It is hate what's coming. They're attacking Eric Ten Hag. Yeah. They're attacking Man United. Look, Ten Hag has a job to do. As far as I can see it, he's actually making it harder for himself. So he has to wise up. The people around him have to wise up. And people need to sort of like start talking to each other and get themselves ready and just dismiss anything what's not got to do with the game.
It's just that I think he maybe got a little bit triggered as well in how the actual game went, with his own decision-making in rotation before the game and during the game. And you know, a man who's comfortable with his decision-making and his own opinions, for me, doesn't need to come out and justify him, because he justified him before the match as to what his starting 11 was and why. So then to do that again after the game, I just thought, Eric, you don't need to do this. And I'm thinking further down the line, because I don't think this will be the last that we see if he continues to do it, where he fights back in press conferences, and it could boil over. And, you got to look at the players in the squad as well. Eric Ten Hag's the leader. He's the main man. He's the manager. They look at him for inspiration and confidence, out of a game and during a game. And if they're thinking that he's being targeted by the media and the media are winning and he's failing, I mean, you're inside that dressing room, you look for leaders, don't you, on the pitch?
No, look, I look at it this way. Eric Ten Hag, on his pre-match, brought it to himself. And this is what I'm talking about, being brief before he goes on. He was asked a question, okay, and he responded to it, and then just went in to a load of different things about Marcus Rashford, his off-field antics, everything else like that. This was a pre-match interview, and he himself brought up and carried on making points about Marcus Rashford. Eric Ten Hag brought it on himself, okay? He didn't need to do that. So the people around him need to get a grip of Eric Ten Hag. He's looking for a fight. He's creating his own fight and his own battle, and he will lose. The media don't give up. And like I said, the fishing line's out, the hook's there, and he's caught it. But he's actually pushing an agenda when he doesn't need to, and he's giving an opening to the media, all the pundits and everything. And that's why, after the game, everything was going on about Marcus Rashford, because he actually started it when he shouldn't have. And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's making the job harder for himself. We all know this job, right? It's so hard. It's unbelievable. One of the hardest jobs in the world football. But he's doing himself no favours. But I thought the people around, the people what had brought in, would be communicating more better with Eric Ten Hag about what to stick to. But he doesn't seem to be sticking to it. And it will be his downfall, because he's giving everyone an opening. But it's also an opening.
To quieten all the press, though, what he needs to do, like I said before, is start winning games, and that's what he should be concentrating on.
No, but listen, when United win games, we still get a hard time from the press. They don't like United winning. United is the biggest news. Winning and losing is the biggest news, okay? So, yeah, when you win, carry on. But we played well. We played well on Saturday. And he should have made more of what was going on, and also made more of, like, these people to come back instead of, like, diverting. But he created his own problems.
You say Man United are the biggest news, whether they win or lose. Well, why can't you just ban Sky Sports then? If he's not happy with the agenda that Sky Sports continuously set about Manchester United, why can't you just ban him? Yeah, they're the broadcaster who pay for it. But you're telling me Man United can't go and set up their own TV deal with an Amazon or DAZN?
You can't go.
They'd be all over it like a cheap suit.
No, you can't go and ban reporters because you don't like the questions.
He has done before.
No, especially when you create the narrative, which he did. He created this weekend's narrative by going on about Marcus Rashford boozing and everything else, his lifestyle, the lot. He opened it up. So you can't ban pundits, you can't ban the media when you set it up, and that's where he has to learn. There is things good to look at here going forward, and there's also things what need changing and need looking at, and Eric Ten Hag's got a big enough job without opening in his mouth and creating a narrative. It has to stop.
So with that narrative that Jamie Redknapp set in the Sky Sports studio, would you expect this week Manchester United Football Club, whoever inside the club, maybe to contact Sky as to say, well, look, with the comments that he's coming out with, you need to calm it down a bit because it's baseless. There's no facts to it.
No, because they will come back and say Eric Ten Hag is the one what started talking about Marcus Rashford being smashed out of his head, because that's what he was in Belfast, and other things. And he also criticised the people around Marcus Rashford. Now, me looking at that, Marcus Rashford would not have been happy, right, about Eric Ten Hag slagging off everybody around Marcus Rashford as though they've not helped him. Well, they clearly haven't helped him. Well, it's been pointed out to Marcus Rashford, and that's why I go back to what I said earlier on. Marcus Rashford was dropped. Wasn't rotation. He's got to be in the bonnet and something's gone on. And Eric Ten Hag got triggered, and then he let the press know, right, his feelings. Well, once you let the press know your feelings, they come out and pour it on. And he set the agenda, and he has to learn, and he has to stop. And people around Eric Ten Hag have to do the job proper and get Eric Ten Hag under control and change the narrative. That's how I see it.
Yeah, that's fine.
The pundits haven't. The pundits were given a narrative by Eric Ten Hag, and Eric Ten Hag has to stop responding to pundits and has to stop creating a narrative when there is no need on a pre-match press conference. A pre-match press conference should all be about the team, injuries and everything else like that, not someone's off-field antics. We all know them. Why bring it up again? It baffled me. There's a serious issue with Marcus Rashford. We know that. We've seen that when he come on the pitch. He was half-hearted jumping into tackles. He wasn't even trying to tackle. He was half-hearted running around the pitch. He didn't really create anything, didn't do anything. He was just half-hearted. And how many times have we seen that?
To be honest,
so that is probably why Eric Ten Hag created the narrative, but he's doing it the wrong way.
To be honest with you, I don't want to finish on talking about Marcus Rashford.
No, I don't.
Because I do actually feel Marcus Rashford gets too much airtime, to be quite honest with you, and too much of a discussion about Manchester United fans. And I want to finish on a positive.
Yes.
That clean sheet, another one against Crystal Palace. World of confidence for Onana, the back four and the team in general. Well,
we say about clean sheets, don't we, that Onana will play better when there's a regular back four in front of him. And that's what we're seeing. If you look at last year, you know, people out there have mentioned it. Plenty of comments. We've said it loads of times. Poor season by Onana. But the thing is, he had that many different people in him. The confidence is there. You can see it. He's building a partnership. He's building a relationship with certain players. And it's showing. The performance what Onana's done the last couple of games, the way he's saving, the way he's coming out, not just saving shots, the way he's actually distributing the ball, the way he's linking up with his players and the way they're all responding. You're seeing football the way it should be played, the way Eric Ten Hag wants it played, and the confidence is there. And that is a very, very good point going forward. They're working together, the confidence is there, and it will only grow stronger and stronger. And that's why I say, and I go back to my conversation, I know people just say, oh, he's going back here, he's going back there. But I've got to point it out. We're not in a disaster here at the moment. It is only 5 games, and there's a lot of things to put right. There's a lot of good things there, and there's a lot of players to come back. And Eric Ten Hag has got to get it together, and it will take time to gel this team and get the right 11. But as a back four and Onana, I think it's looking good going forward.
Just need to get the shooting boots back on forwards, and then we should be all right. Things to be positive about going forward.
Yes.
Let us know your thoughts and opinions on today's chat, plus your own in the comment section below. Just like to thank everyone for joining us. If you want to support us, leave a like on the video, and we'll be back tomorrow with another Manchester United chat. So get that notification on, and we'll see you again soon, Reds. Enjoy your evening. Thank you.
Thank you.